Hey folks, this is Young from Career School. So many of you probably already know, but I've been doing a lot of these videos, posts about interviewing with big tech companies or providing you insights or tips about how to break into these big tech companies and interviewing with different people who work in these big tech companies to provide you insights of what their day-to-day will look like, right? And a lot of the questions that I get from LinkedIn or anywhere, YouTube, is what's the hiring process for these big tech companies? So today I prepared a video and a slide deck to share you about what does the hiring process look like for Amazon. And let's get right into it. Yeah, so as you can see, I have prepared one slide deck to kind of share the whole Amazon hiring process, and let's go in. Probably this is going to be the whole agenda, so let's get right into it. Yeah, so let's start with the overall process. I think it really helps you understand where you are in the process by knowing the whole thing, even before beginning. So obviously you got to apply for a job, and everything is probably pretty much online these days. So first step, obviously online application. And then depending on the role that you're applying to, you may or may not get an assessment. It's probably depending on the role or the team or your situation. And then you'll have a phone screening, which is probably one or two of them. And then you go into an on-site interview, and then there is a final decision at the end. I think usually the whole process kind of takes about, if we really want to rush something, we would probably do it in 2 or 3 weeks. But I think for most of the people, I think it will probably take about a month, just because it really takes us and the candidates to prepare for or kind of adjust the schedule, because it takes a lot of stakeholders to actually interview one person. So let's get into the online application piece. So obviously the jobs, every job on Amazon is posted on Amazon.jobs, regardless of your region where you live, regardless of the positions that you're looking for, everything is there. And then obviously you will need a resume. And then, you will probably have to input a lot of different information. But if you, upload your resume, it'll probably, kind of autofill a lot of them. And then you click the submit button. And then that's how the whole process will look like in the online application step. I also added a referral batch here just because referrals in general really does help. So the thing that I was told from a recruiter is that most of the people that we hire are through referrals. So this referral can be someone refers you to a system, and then you kind of get a email notification from Amazon system saying that, hey, someone referred you, please go ahead and apply. That can be one thing. And then the other thing can be for example, I can pass someone's resume for a existing role, for example, in my team, and I can just send some of the resumes that I collected from my alum or from my friends, and then send it over to the hiring manager plus the recruiter, and then they will probably set something up. And I noticed that this case, a lot of the people actually did get an interview invite, or at least phone screening opportunity and Amazon. So I think, having a referral, no matter who it is, within Amazon, I think really does help. So if you are thinking about applying to Amazon, definitely reach out to someone and definitely try to get that referral, because that's going to maximize your opportunity to, even interview with the company. Yeah, so moving on to the next step, it's the assessment. There's going to be two types of assessment. One is probably going to be work style assessment. And then the second part is probably the work sample simulation. So work style assessment, I think it's just based on the leadership principles that you choose. It's like getting to know you, how you work. And then the work sample simulation is we give you situations, and then you kind of choose what your decision will look like. when you are actually in that situation. I'll put a link down in the description so that you can actually go to this website where Amazon kind of explains the difference between the work style assessment and then the work sample simulation. And that will probably help you a lot if you are having a assessment when you're interviewing with the company. Who might get an assessment? That's a really good question. So it can be people who is in finance. It can be people in developing roles like STEs or BIEs, for example. I noticed a lot of people in BI. Some of my close friends are business intelligence engineers at Amazon, and they told me that they had these assessments. And then other people can be MBA students. I noticed that a lot of the MBA students, they actually get this online assessment even before the interview process. So if you have to go through the assessment, I would strongly suggest that you check out Google, check out all these different materials out there on what those assessment will look like and what are the things that you will probably get, because it's going to be very different by role and by your situation, like MBA, non-MBA, things like that. Yeah, and then there's the phone screening step. So I kind of, organized it based on the information that you might need. So first things first, you will probably have like 1 or 2 rounds of phone screening. The first one is probably going to be with someone in the team, and then the second one might be from the hiring manager. And usually one of them is like 45, maybe 60 minutes, and then most of the questions are behavioral. So we like to ask questions based on the leadership principle, and a lot of them are, behavioral questions. Sometimes people do ask, different questions, different question types, like, very simple case type questions or things like a brain teaser or something like that. And then the interviewers are the team members and the hiring manager. And the platform of it is usually, Chime, which is, Amazon's internal platform. And then obviously it's a phone screening. So there's the phone aspects there as well. And then the good thing is that once you do have the phone screening, we usually try to get back to you by, 2 business days. So this is another thing that I want to kind of emphasize is that we have this 2 and 5 promise to our candidates. We'd like to give you the results within 2 days after the phone screen, and then after 5 business days after the, the final interviews. So just to let you know that once you have the phone screen, you will probably get a result back by, within 2 business days. If you have not, I would suggest you to reach out to the recruiter or the recruiting coordinator. Yeah, and then the next step, if you do pass the phone screening, we do have the on-site interview, which we call the loop. So the reason we call it the loop is because we usually have about 4 people interview you in a day. Usually we usually did it in a day, but now I think you can kind of choose between you can choose between doing it full day or kind of breaking into 2 days, because now we're not really doing on-site interview. It's more so of a Chime interview, right? Like we're not, in the world of COVID. As I have said, one interview was probably like 45, 60 minutes in total. And the question types that we usually ask is behavioral, and, based on the role, it can be technical. And some of them can ask you case questions and, just a bunch of different questions that we can ask. The interviewers are the hiring manager, team member, and then we also have this thing called bar raiser. So bar raisers are the people who are really experienced and kind of trained to lead these bunch of interviews and to make sure that we raise the bar in a specific level. And usually these people are not within the team that you are interviewing for. They're from another team so that they can be very neutral when it comes to a decision making. So you will have 4 45 minutes or 60 minutes interview in one day. And that's what we call a loop. We used to do it in person before COVID, obviously. We used to fly you out to Seattle or fly you out to whatever the location of the job is. But due to the COVID, obviously, we are doing everything online, and we're using Chime as our interviewing process. And as I said, we have this 5 business days promise after the final loop interview. So you will probably hear back the result within the 5 business days. And about how to crack the interview, I have another video, so you can probably just check that out. But yeah, I think that's the majority of the interviewing process. I know it's a lot. It's you got to interview like 4 people within one day. That's a lot of interview. But yeah, I mean, that's what it is. And then finally, it's a decision time. So as I said, there is a hiring decision meeting. In the meeting, usually the bar raiser kind of leads these meetings, or the hiring manager leads these meetings. But like everyone, starting from the recruiter to everyone who was included in the interview, we kind of combine forces to discuss if you are a candidate who can succeed in Amazon. I think one good thing is that we don't only look at your fit with the role. We try to see if you are able to succeed at Amazon, and we do that based on the leadership principles. So yeah, leadership principle is the most important thing to know if you are interviewing for the company. And then the turnaround time again is 5 business days. We try to commit to that promise for our candidates, and then once you do get a offer, you're probably gonna hear back from the recruiter. Recruiter will probably reach out to you via phone, and then tell you that you have made it, and kind of talk about the expected salary and etc. and etc. Yeah, so that's pretty much the whole application to phone screening, loop interview, and then the decision process of Amazon hiring process. And hope this was really helpful. Yeah, so I noticed that a lot of people are interviewing with the company these days. I get a lot of different questions from people who are interviewing or who are applying for a job at Amazon. But I thought that this would actually help you to understand where you are in the process and what will happen in the next steps, and what you should be preparing in your interviews. I hope this really helped. Please leave a comment or any questions that you really want me to answer about the interview or the hiring process, so I can give you feedback or my thoughts or the answers to the questions that you have. Hope this helped. Please don't forget to subscribe, share, like this video, and thank you so much.